guys, welcome back to another video. This one I'm just going to be taking a look at the news of the announced ban or restriction list update that is going to happen during the streaming of the World Finals, as this is what this picture says in the Japanese. And I don't want this to be like a crazy oh my god, this is gonna get banned, blah blah blah. I just want to take like a measured look at like what possible cards are on the chopping block, what I personally think is going to get banned, and just taking a look and just making some fun predictions, right? I'll make another video once the bans actually happen, but since this is all speculative, I don't want to put a lot of weight on it, and it's just to kind of take a look and see like why some of these cards might be getting banned, because I do think that is pretty important to actually talk about inside the actual One Piece community, because you need to understand why the cards are so powerful and why they might be getting banned to really understand if it's a good idea or not. So that being said, let's jump into it. Alright, so as I said, as you can see from this picture and these funny little gifs here on the side, at the very end of the Japanese Nationals, there was like this crazy cliffhanger moment where they just like randomly were like, also at the during the broadcast of the World Finals, we'll be announcing the new updated ban and restriction list, and then they're like, peace out. And I was like, wait, what? I'm sorry, what? So yeah, that got announced, and I don't think they've really given any kind of information after that. It's just been like a crazy cliffhanger moment, and everyone's been like, okay, so stuff's getting banned, right? And I think that begs the question of, is it even necessary? Is this really necessary to ban or not to ban, right? And to me, okay, look, if you put a gun to my head and you're like, in the current state of One Piece TCG, do you think it's necessary to ban anything right now? I would say no, not really. Yes, there are decks like obviously Sakazuki and cards like Akos Moria that are oppressive and are really, really good, but it's even harder to make this judgment call. Like, I feel like it was even like Whitebeard was probably worse than like what's going on right now, even if it may not seem like that, just because there are more decks and more other powerful leaders. And this is we're going into OPO7 is releasing this weekend over here in Japan. And I would bet money on leaders like Bonnie and some of the new support for blue and green that things are going to get shaken up a little bit. So I know this is kind of reactionary to, I guess, make things better in the West as well, because I believe, again, we don't have all the information, but I believe these bans will take effect for everyone who's going into OPO6 in the West too. So yeah, like if you really put me under the gun and ask me, I would say probably no. I think it is at a competitive level, there are enough choices, and it's not just like one leader literally winning everything. But as for like a casual or like even just semi-competitive point of view, I can totally understand why people would want to ban or restrict things. So I see both sides of the argument. And if you gave me, here's the thing, if you put a gun to my head, I would say, no, you don't really need to ban anything, but it might be good. But if you gave me the keys to Bandai and you said, yo, Sam, you can ban or restrict anything you want, I would probably be like, okay, cool, we're gonna ban beige. All right, thanks. And then just, I'd be done, right? So right, there's always this thing of like wants and needs, right? And it's different for every player. Different players play different decks. So if you're a Sakazuki player, you don't really want to see Houndblaze. You don't want to see Akos Moria and Rebecca get hit, right? But let's just take a look and let's see what's on the chopping block, right? So here I have 8 cards that are kind of like up on the chopping block. These 8 cards, as you can see. And I'm going to go through them 2 at a time, kind of talk about it real quick. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about everything, but I want to just point out like why I think these are the main cards on the chopping block. And this is a mix of what I believe is on the chopping block combined with what I've heard from other people, especially people in Japan, other Japanese players who have just finished going through the OPO6 format. We're done. We're starting OPO7 this weekend. So we've had Starter Deck 13 and EBO1 now for a little while. And yeah, everyone's consensus has not really changed. So I think that's a pretty important thing to mention too. But just to start out here, we got 8 cost Moria, we have Houndblaze, we got Beige, we got 10 cost Mom, we got Onami, we got Amaru, we got Rebecca, and we have Reject. Those are the main 8 cards. Yes, there are other cards like Lucci, and some people even say Ice Age is too overpowered. There are other cards, right? I can't include everything, and these are the ones that I really think are the main ones. And let me just preface this by saying I'm a yellow-green Yamato main through all of OP06, and we'll be playing her through OP07 as well. So like 3 of the cards you see here on the screen are 3 cards that I love, and I'm running the Sky Island build right now in like the OP06 EB01 Yamato. So I use Reject, I use Amaru, and of course you run Onami in all of your Yamato builds. So I'm gonna be I'm letting you know my bias here, and I'm gonna try and remove that bias and stay unbiased as I talk about these cards. But I did want to just mention that. Plus, I don't really like Sakazuki that much, so I'm letting you know my biases just so that you can see how hard I'm trying to just be very unbiased in all of this. So let's start out. Let's talk about Gecko Moria, right? Gecko Moria is a really, really good card. Wow, wouldn't you know it? But here's the thing. I do not think this card will not get banned. It cannot get banned just because it's like, if you ban this card, the Moria leader is essentially unplayable. Perona gets hit to where she may not even be top tier anymore. And then obviously Sakazuki gets hit. But the thing is, if you take Moria away from Sakazuki, it's going to be like a Whitebeard situation where they just find something else that they can do with that slot. And sure, maybe it's not like as oppressive, but it only goes down like a little bit. So I don't really think it's the answer. If Sakazuki is the main problem, so maybe Moria could be restricted to 1. That's the only thing I could see, but even that I think is unlikely personally. And if you really want to hit Sakazuki, I think you ban Houndblaze. This is my first card at the very top of what I think should actually get banned. I have a what I think should get banned, and I have a what I want to get banned list, right? Those are 2 separate things. And I'll just tell you right now, what I want to get banned is like Beige, and that's basically it. But what I think might need to get banned, or at the very least restricted, is Houndblaze. Because this card is just, it's a 2-for-1 if I've ever seen one, right? And the bottom decking getting around the KO is incredibly huge. It's so important. It makes cards like Kikunojo essentially useless. 8 cost Odin's out the window. It's unplayable. It's not hard for Sakazuki to get things down to 2 cost. And then on top of that, the thing that really makes this card busted is the plus 3k. It's similar to Amaru, where it has like this secondary effect that's just amazing. But it's really, really good in Sakazuki because especially in OP06, you're running the new 1-cost Tashigi Searcher and brand new. And Tashigi is a 2k power. So like this gets her up to 5k, and this makes brand new a 6k. And it's just like Sakazuki needs this card to... sometimes you just use this like Amaru and you just double Houndblaze and buff something by 6k and you just swing for lethal, right? But the other thing is you get these little chip shots in with these 5 and 6ks with Tashigi and brand new. And not only that, you're bottom decking something. A lot of the times it's a blocker too, so that there's like, it's a free shot with whatever 5 or 6k attack you're going with. And put it on your leader, you're an 8k 1 Dawn, so for 3 Dawn you're a 9k. It's the same thing as Amaru, right? But it's in Sakazuki, it's just so busted. So if you wanted to hit something that will only affect Sakazuki, Houndblaze is the answer. And that's why I think it's probably the top of the list of the cards that should get hit. Because if you hit Houndblaze, no other deck is negatively affected by this. And Sakazuki, let's just face it, will probably still be pretty good. There's tons of other events that they can run. There's a new 2-cost event from OP06, the Ama no Murakumo, that bottom decks a 2 and a 1 cost for 2 Dawn. So I mean there's plenty of other options for Sakazuki to still be strong. So that is why I think Houndblaze is the biggest target, and personally I think would probably be the best target to ban. If you're gonna ban anything, don't ban Moria, ban Houndblaze. Putting it to 1 would be fine. I don't mind a restriction there. But let's move on. So next we got Onami and Rebecca. Onami is just overtuned. But here's the thing. Onami is like in Lucci territory, the 4-cost Lucci territory, because she's really, really good, but she's only Straw Hat Crew. She's not searchable through Wano. Honestly, I mean, she's best in a Yamato deck. I'm so used to playing Yamato that when I play other decks that use Onami, and I go for a swing with Onami and I only get 1 life through Banish, I'm like, man, that's not even that good. As crazy as that sounds, I think Onami's real power comes from the fact that not only is it so it's the Dawn requirement, the power, and then its trigger. The on-play effect is just what makes it overtuned, in my opinion. So it's a 2-cost, 3k power, which is so perfect with Yamato because you can just play Onami. You can use that 2 Dawn to put it on something else, right? Or you play Amaru for 2 Dawn, and then you use that 2 Dawn you use for that to put it on Onami, and boom, you got a 5k swing. The counter is amazing, so you don't need to run Thunderbolt or anything anymore. You just run this card, and it has the Banish, so it's better than the 4-cost Zoro too, the promo one that came out in OPO 5. And then just on play, being able to give one of your leaders or characters Banish for the turn is crazy, because if you restand something, it still has Banish. And then obviously the trigger KO up to one of your opponent's 5-cost or lower characters. This card is amazing. It's overtuned. I don't think it should get banned. I really don't. And the other thing is too, there's an SP coming out for this card in OPO 7 that I really want. So I'm just kidding. I do really want it, but that actually is something that I think might deter them. We've already seen what happened when Bandai banned the red 1-cost Searcher Nami. So I think they'll be very wary of that. I guess this could get restricted, but if you ask me, I don't think anything's going to happen to Onami. Rebecca, on the other hand, is a card that I'd like to restrict to 2, but Bandai never does that. So what I think is going to happen is Rebecca's going to get restricted to 1, because they don't. If they could do an errata and change what it is and leader lock it to Dressrosa, boom, that would probably fix things. But with Moria and Rebecca, I don't see them doing an errata, because those would be nice solutions, and people have suggested that. And every time I think about it, I'm like, yeah, actually that would probably work, but it's probably not going to happen. So don't expect that to happen. I don't see Rebecca getting banned, but if they limit it to 1, then I think you can leave Moria at 4. And here's why. Is because Moria on its own is like kind of busted. Moria with Rebecca in decks like Sakazuki and Moria, it makes it really, really busted, because the combos you can do there are insane, especially with EBO1, because Brook is a 3-cost black character and Sakazuki uses that like it's like such a perfect combo. It's another target to grab and play with Rebecca, which is just insane. And Brook has an on-play effect. It's on-play and when attacking. It's crazy. Give a character cost -1 and then KO a 0-cost character. So the main problem here too is like that combo with Rebecca is stronger in Sakazuki than it is with Moria. It's really strong in Moria too, but not even every Moria deck is running Rebecca, right? And Perona doesn't really run it either. So it's just like mostly for Sakazuki again. So if that's the case, then that makes it a card that you can kind of go after, right? The other thing too is I think Rebecca might be strong in OPO 7 Lucci. I'm not sure. This is a totally wild guess, and from some of the testing that I've seen, no one really runs Rebecca in that deck right now, but who knows, right? All I'm saying is like restricting it to 1 right now could help future-proof other black decks, or just, you know, make Sakazuki more balanced. So I think if any character is going to get hit out of these 3 that we've seen so far, it's going to be Rebecca. But yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Now let's move on to these 2 cards. Okay, so this is more yellow, right? This is more yellow. This is the last 2 characters, I believe, that are on the chopping block for me. Let's talk about 10-cost Mom first. Let's do this from the right. 10-cost Big Mom is just the easiest target to ban, just because people have been going after it forever. Like people have been wanting 10-cost Big Mom to be banned for a long time, and I understand why. I honestly, a few sets ago, if you had asked me, I would have said, yeah, that should get banned. It really should, just because it's so, you know, back to back, or even if they have the tempo back to back to back, it's ridiculous, and then you just lose games because of it, just because they're playing a 10-cost, right? I don't even care. I know people are like, oh, they're so skillful to play 3 10-cost Big Moms. Like, I get it. I don't even care about that. I just care that it's like something that's so easy to play that like we'll just lose you the game. I don't even care about like my opponent not having to like think about it or have skill. Like that doesn't matter as much to me, just as the fact that it's like kind of a broken card. But that being said, I think this would be a really easy card to just limit to 1 and see what happens. But then, you know, like Katakuri would be a lot worse. And I know not every deck runs 4. Some people only run 3 right now. So like, I guess if the yellow support and the other decks, the other versions of Katakuri, you know, are strong enough, maybe it'd be okay. But restricting it to 1, I don't know. It might be okay. I don't feel it's as necessary as I used to. That's all I kind of want to say about 10 cost Big Mom, but I would not be surprised if this get hit, banned, or restricted to 1. Now, let's talk about beige. I hate you, beige. And this is coming from somebody who has run beige in my yellow-green Yamato decks before, when it was more of a trigger-heavy deck that I was running, and played Enel for most of OPO5. I love playing Enel. And you run beige in Enel, wouldn't you know it? It's just because it's a really good card and it's a 2K. But here's the thing. That being said, I think this card should just get banned. I do. Like, if it doesn't, that's fine. I'm not going to lose sleep over it, right? But I also wouldn't lose sleep if this card got banned. If I'm playing Enel in OPO7 and beige gets banned, so be it, right? Like, or in OPO6. I don't know, man. To me, even more so than 10 cost Big Mom, and this is why I put these 2 cards together, more so than 10 cost Big Mom, beige is the ultimate, like, and I talked about this when I was talking to Brandon, it's like the low effort, high value card, the most low effort, highest value card. You could make an argument that 10 cost Big Mom is even more, but at least with 10 cost Big Mom, you kind of know what's coming. Beige, last life, just losing you games, it hurts, man. And here's the thing. Most yellow triggers you can either play around or you play around to the best of your abilities. Sometimes you don't have a way of playing around beige and you're like, okay, I lose next turn if I don't go for it, so I have to go for lethal. And if this person just happens to have a beige, I will lose. And I did everything I could. I did everything right. I did every move correct. This is just the way that the cookies have crumbled. And unfortunately, if this person has a beige, I lose. And then they have a beige and you lose. And it's the worst feeling in the world. And the thing that I think is the main reasoning why I could see beige actually getting banned is because it's very similar to Kabaji. Why Kabaji got banned from being in the, because it was used in Blue Nami, right? And I love Blue Nami. That's one of my favorite decks. But I totally understand why they did that, right? Beige is like the most, like the highest on the list of cards that if you banned, I think general player satisfaction of the One Piece TCG would go up and people would be complaining less, because I understand how frustrating it can be playing against yellow and having triggers, but you have to understand that this is like the archetype of the color. That is what they do. Yellow doesn't have some of the other things that, like, yellow can't ramp Dawn, yellow can't reduce cost and KO things, yellow can't really bottom deck things. You have Yamato, 9 cost Yamato that can KO some stuff, but like, there's things that each color has that makes it strong. They're characteristics of each color that are like part of the color. So if you take away all the triggers from yellow, it would be a terrible color. It wouldn't be good, right? Maybe a Nell leader would still be decent just because he has a really, really good effect, but you have to understand this, and you have to like try your best to like consider why these cards are made the way they are. And I don't think Bandai gets it right every time. I think, like I've been saying this whole time, I think beige could get banned and I wouldn't lose a wink of sleep. But there is a beige winner card that kind of just got released. So similar to the Onami SP kind of thing. I think that's a little bit different though. So I could still see it getting banned. If they restrict it to 1, sure, I'll be happy. But then it's just when you hit that 1 beige out of your last life and that makes you lose the game, like the feels bad man moment is going to be like amplified by 1,000. So that's why I think it's just safer to just ban the card. If they don't, it's whatever. I don't have a huge dog in this fight, but if you ask me personally what card I actually want to get banned, it's beige. And that's coming from someone who uses mostly decks with yellow in it. So yeah, take that for what it is. Next, we have 2 cards that are on the chopping block that I really, really don't want to get hit. I'll just talk about these quickly. Amaru and then Reject. You already know Amaru by now. It's amazing in OP05. It's even better in OP06. This card pairs so well with Yamato, and I love it. It's a 4 of in all of my Yamato decks. Can't live without it. And then Reject. If you're not familiar, it's a 4-cost event that says main, choose one of the following. KO up to one of your opponent's 5-cost or lower characters, or if your opponent has 1 life, deal 1 damage to them, then add the top card of your life to your hand. So your opponent gets dealt 1 damage, so they can activate their trigger if they have a trigger. You can only take the card to your hand. You do not get to activate your trigger. I just want to clarify that because that's something that a lot of people get confused. And then the trigger is draw 1 card. So the trigger is not that amazing. Obviously, a modern trigger is like way crazier, way better. But being able to KO a 5-cost is so crazy, especially the fact that this is a yellow card. You can KO 5-cost blockers now, and it's really, really good. And because of this card, Yamato can just go for lethal even easier. This card gives Yamato a chance in some of those like harder matchups, like Fortress Yamato, Mirror, or going up against like EBO1 Uta, or maybe Perona or Moria. It gives them a shot, right? And or even Sakazuki, but normally you don't need to use Reject for Sakazuki. Amaru is a better card against Sakazuki. So these are just generically really, really, really good cards that I think again fits into like the Rebecca Lucci territory, where it's just like maybe you could make the case they're slightly overtuned, but here's the difference between Amaru and Reject, and Houndblaze. What the difference to me is, Houndblaze makes an already like kind of overpowered leader even better. Amaru and Reject make leaders like Enel and Yamato and Katakuri like go from like pretty good to like highly competitive. So I think you need the edge. I think you need an edge like that. And like I was saying with like the yellow stuff, like if you start just banning all the yellow cards, yellow is going to take a crazy hit. And then guess what? Like black and Sakazuki are just going to get even better, right? Because yellow is one of the only things keeping some of those decks in check. If Yamato is unplayable in OP06, Sakazuki just wins. It just wins everything, okay? Or Moria, right? But like it's really crazy. Yamato is one of the only decks that can keep Sakazuki in check in OP06. That's why I'm saying that. So you have to consider these things, right? But I don't see them getting hit, honestly. Because if you restricted, I guess Reject, if you restricted to 1, maybe would still be kind of useful. It is a little bit of a tech card in some decks. It's not a 4 of in every deck. It's not even a 3 of in every deck. So maybe if Amaru got hit, I'll be really sad. I will be sad to see that card go, but I guess I would understand it at least. I would kind of be able to wrap my head around it. And once I was done crying, I'd probably get over it. But yeah, so that is it for all the cards, right? So let me just ask you guys, what do you think will get banned and restricted? Why? What are your thoughts? If you don't even have a reason, that's fine too. Or just like, let me know what you want. What do you want to get banned and restricted? Because I've talked to a lot of people in Japan, a lot of people I play with at locals, some friends and stuff. And oddly enough, not oddly enough, but like it may surprise you, but literally almost every single person said Houndblaze. No one's really saying Moria. No one's really saying Moria. And I know everyone in the West is thinking Moria is like the big bad monster that's overpowered and it's going to make the OP06 format like really boring and stuff. It's, in my opinion, it's not. It's not that crazy. It's really, really good. But like I said, there's more diversity in OP06 where there are enough good decks like Perona, Moria, Yamato, Reiju, Sakazuki, Enel. Like there's at least 6 decks that are top tier in OP06. And it just, as the meta ebbs and flows, you'll notice like, because it's going to be a little bit different in North America. It always is, right? Because here's the thing, even if people go ham on Sakazuki and Moria, those decks are pretty like, comparable to each other. So like, yes, it would be a little bit boring if black just continues being the best, but there are enough things in OP06, there are enough strong decks that can like kind of keep other decks in check to the point where I don't think it'll get to the point where it just is stagnant all the way across. So that's it. I've said my piece. If you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm dumb, that's totally fine. But let me know what you think and give me a reason. Let's keep it classy in the comments and everything. I don't want this to turn into anything like crazy or like mean or whatever. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the ban list. Thank you for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, I really, really appreciate it. Consider liking and subscribing to the channel because I'm making a lot more videos like this and stuff. And I'm working on getting out some videos for like other OPO6 leaders, the Stardeck 13 leaders, and EBO1. So please keep an eye out for those. But for now, just thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.